What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So, some of you may be wondering, why is KI Reacts wearing the Naruto Itachi Anti headband? Well, that's because I'm about to go really hard into The Last of Us 2, and I might slaughter this game a little bit, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. That doesn't mean that I didn't get what Naughty Dog was trying to do. So now, the first thing I want to say is, do not go and harass Neil Druckmann. Do not go and harass and threaten the people who made this game. Everyone has their freedom to create what they consider as art. And in my opinion, this game was some magnificent art in certain aspects. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have its flaws, which it does, which I'm about to address right now, but I enjoyed the game for what it was. Would I consider this a Last of Us 2 sequel? Yes and no. And my reasoning for saying yes and then saying no is because of the flashbacks that we get with Joel, which were fun to play, to play through. I loved the flashbacks with Joel. I thought they were well done. I personally, when I was playing through the flashbacks, because you obviously play as Ellie through the flashbacks, with Joel, I felt like I was playing the first game all over again. I felt like I was playing the first game, and it felt like a DLC, which is kind of a little disappointing because of the fact that we don't get too much of Joel in this game. You only get to play as him for like 3 minutes at the beginning, 3 or 5 minutes, depending on how long it takes you, when you're on that horse to get to the settlement, to Jackson with Tommy. But the story of the game, in my personal opinion, is not bad. It's actually a good idea. But the execution and the way that the structure of the game was put together is what I have a problem with. Now, it's going to be a lot of spoilers, so please avoid this video. If you have not played The Last of Us 2, please avoid this spoiler so you do not get spoiled, so you can experience what I experienced twice. Yes, I had played this game twice, and I'm currently actually playing through it. This is my second playthrough. I'm almost done with Ellie's part, about to go into Abby's. This game is very controversial, and people have a problem with playing as Ellie, which I personally do not have a problem with playing as Abby or Ellie, because a lot of people are saying that her character is out of character, which I can agree, especially Joel and Tommy. The game has you play as, Joel at the beginning for about 3 or 5 minutes, depending on how long it takes you on the horse to get there, if you're just trying to, just like explore a little bit, which you really don't have nothing to explore for, because the game kind of, I wouldn't say forces you, but it kind of has you ride along with Tommy to get back to Jackson real quick, which doesn't take that long because you were just at a house just talking to him at the beginning of the game. And before playing this game, I already knew all the spoilers, I already read the leaks and everything, and I was giving it a chance because sometimes is a good example for Endgame. I knew that Iron Man, if you have not seen Endgame, get the hell out of here because you're about to be hella spoiled. I knew that Iron Man was going to die, but that didn't ruin the experience for me, and that didn't ruin the emotional effect that it had on me, when I had accidentally read that spoiler, because people were spoiling the living hell out of that movie. And that's kind of the way that I felt with The Last of Us 2. I feel as though instead of playing as Ellie at the beginning of the game, we should have played as Abby. And we should have started when her flashback started, when she was looking for her dad. The doctor who was going to operate on Ellie that Joel ended up killing, and that's the reason why Abby had killed Joel, is because he had murdered her father. Now, I can to an extent sympathize with that and respect that, because I had lost my father 2 years ago, so, but not to like someone who would kill him. He died having a heart attack while driving, and then, crashed his car, and then, he didn't make it, obviously, because he's not here with us anymore, but it's just the way that it was executed. So the way that me personally, then this is me giving my review of the game and how I would have structured the story so it would have pleased the fans a little bit more. I would have started the game off as Abby in her flashback when you start to play as her from the after you play as Ellie throughout half the game, you play as Abby. And I would have started the game as Abby looking for her dad when she was younger. And I would have continued the rest of the game halfway through as that, and then I would have given the flashbacks of Joel and Ellie to play through that, and then go into Joel, play as Ellie, how you would at the beginning of the game, and then go into Joel's death. And then, obviously before we play as Ellie, play as, Abby, go into Jackson with Owen, and then go into, Ellie's flashbacks with Joel when she was younger for her birthday, and then, all the other really emotional scenes that I really love in this game. And then I would have went into Ellie's part of the game and then went from there. And I would have just, I would have structured it like that. I would have had us finish the game as Ellie, play that first half as Abby, and then the last half as Ellie. I feel as though Naughty Dog was really trying something new. And I feel as though a lot of people didn't like it because it was something different. And I feel as though a lot of people took offense to the way that Joel went. Now, I do have a problem with the way that Joel died, in my personal opinion. I feel as though he shouldn't have died within the first hour and 30 minutes or 2 hours, depending on, the way that you play the game. Because me, personally, I like playing the first Last of Us. I would explore every inch of area that we would go through throughout the game before moving forward to the next part of the story. So, me personally, it took me quite a while. I was really enjoying, the game. And then it got to that point where, he got taken out that quick. And I was not so much as like I was kind of disappointed in the way that it went because I knew it was going to happen, but not that early. I was expecting it to happen later on. But this is what I mean by people are angry because a lot of characters are out of character, and they're not lying. They are out of character. Now, Joel and Tommy would have never told Abby after they rescued her, which they rescued her, and then after rescuing her, she shoots Joel in the kneecap with a shotgun and then tourniquets his leg so she can torture him and then beat him to death with the golf club. I have a huge problem with that because he and Tommy would have never told these people who they were. They were way out of character in this game, and I do agree with a lot of fans on that aspect in that part of the game. They were way out of character. He would have never done that because if you guys recall in the first game, when him and Ellie were driving after they got the car from that one guy, I think his name was Bill. If I'm not right, please comment down below and correct me. But after they got the car and they were riding, she was reading through the magazines, pretending that she was seeing something that she wasn't supposed to be seeing at a young age. And then they get to the part in the game where there's a guy lying in the road pretending that he's hurt, and Ellie's like, we need to help him, and Joel's like, he's not hurt, and he runs him over, and he obviously wasn't hurt, because he got up as soon as he just kept driving towards him to hit him, and he, obviously hit him. Yes, Joel and Tommy were very out of character in this game. I do not feel as though Tommy and Joel would have just said where they stayed at, who they were, or any of that to a complete stranger, even though they have saved this person. And people are going to argue the fact, Joel and Tommy have been in, it's been peaceful for quite a while and stuff like that. Yes, that is true, but I just don't think that they would have went out of character like that. I do not believe that they would have just said who they were in their location at all and how long they had been there. Because Joel wasn't like that. He was and yes, Joel was not an angel. He had killed a lot of people in the first game. And then this is kind of like, in my opinion, where I kind of have the problem with the revenge story, because they could have chosen someone better. Because if you recall in the first game, when you're playing as Joel, when you go in to save Ellie from the surgery that's about to happen, that's going to kill her, you don't really have a choice in not killing the surgeon who pulls out a knife on you. He was going to attack you first. So you had to kill him in self-defense. But then when you play The Last of Us Part 2 and Joel's telling his story, they kind of try to make him look like the villain, which I do not agree with. Him and Ellie are not the villain. They did very poorly on that aspect. And I will say, like I said before, a lot of characters are out of character. And some of the deaths in the game just don't hit me home at all. Jesse, for example, I really like that character, but when you get almost to the part where you have to play as Abby with a really significant cutscene, as soon as he walks out the fucking door, he gets shot dead. Like, that was one of the very few new characters that I really liked and I really got attached to, and I was pissed off that he died like he did, because it's and a lot of people are going to argue the fact that, that's what happens when you seek revenge. Yes, that is true. But it's like every male character in this game was reduced to nothing, and all the female characters were made out to like be these badasses, which they are. Ellie is a badass, and I'm not gonna lie, I did enjoy playing as Abby because she was just decking zombies. Well, I can't really say these infected in this game are zombies. They're basically infected by this fungus, which the first game had addressed. And if you had watched the making of The Last of Us, it's actually based on a true fungus that had infected insects and kind of turned them into zombie insects, which they would attack their own kind and kill them. So they really do ignore the cure aspect of Ellie being immune to a certain degree. We get like little glimpses, like when Dina finds out that she's actually immune, she's kind of mad at her, which I don't get why she's mad at her. Like, you should kind of be happy because she does get bit, she's not going to get infected. So, like, to, Dina, that's kind of like a big slap in the face. I don't really understand that part, but okay. It's just, I enjoyed my second playthrough because I knew what was going to happen. My first playthrough, I was shocked that I was going to play as Abby for like half of the game, which you play as her for half of the game. And Abby is not a bad character. I will admit that. She is not a bad character. Like I said, she was poorly introduced, and she wasn't introduced the right and correct manner. If this game was just about Abby and Lev, I would have been fine with it. And then have the third game be, Abby getting her revenge on Joel. But then in the third game, have us play as Ellie and Joel for half of the game, and then have him die in a heroic way. In this game, he dies in the first 2 hours. Hour and a half, an hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours. I feel this game would have been a little better if Abby wouldn't have just seeked revenge right then and there. If she would have tried to just talk to Joel and kind of question him a little bit, get a little closer to him, have us play as Joel alongside Abby, so we get this new character that we can try to sympathize with, that we really don't know who she is and where she's from, and try to in a sense, she bonds a relationship with Joel and then meets up with Ellie. And then, halfway through the game, Abby finds out who Joel really is. And this huge fight ensues, between her group and Jackson. And we're, in this giant, war type of thing. Kind of like The Walking Dead with the Whisperers. Even though a lot of people don't like The Walking Dead, I still enjoy the show. I think it's still incredible. Staying really comic book accurate, especially with, bringing in the Whisperers and everything that had happened with them. I just feel as though the game should have been structured better. The story would have been better. Did I enjoy the game? Yes, I did enjoy the game for what it was. Would I consider it canon? Not really, because, like I said, this would have been this would have been a good third game. It would have been a good third game if this second game would just revolved around Abby and Lev. And then the third game revolved around Ellie and Joel, and then Abby coming into the picture, being saved by Joel, and then finding out who he is, but then at the same time, not seeking revenge, but trying to understand why he did what he did. And then maybe if she wants to exact revenge, a big war, erupts with her group of people and Joel's group of people. That's how I feel like this game should have been done. It should have been just nothing but about Abby and Lev and her group. And then the third game, which they're obviously going to make, which I'm going to buy and play because I'm really going to be interested in what they're going to do with it. I feel that's how this game should have been, because when you start to play as Abby, she gets the better weapons. You get more gameplay with the infected. It's just more interesting. And they kind of just didn't give you enough with Ellie in the aspect of like weapons and being running into the infected. You run into more people with Ellie than infected, which the first game was revolved around the infected and the enemies who are human. Which, when you really think about it, like when you're living in a world like in kind of like in a apocalyptic world, the humans are more dangerous than the infected because they can actually think, they can strategize, they can hurt you, and all of that. Like, they can do a lot of really messed up things. The infected, they just bite you and tear you up, and that's it, and you become one of them. That's it. But when you have, like, enemy humans, they become worse than the actual monsters themselves. So, it's just like in that aspect, I feel as though we should have got a lot more Ellie gameplay. I feel as though the game should have started out as Abby. And I feel, to be honest, I feel as though this whole game should have just been about Abby. Did I enjoy The Last of Us Part 2? Yes. Do I agree with the narratives and a lot of the things that they did? No, I do not. But am I going to sit here and harass and threaten someone who tried to do something different and bring something different to the table with a franchise this big? And am I going to sit here and be butthurt over a video game? No, because life moves on. People get upset about movies and video games so much to the point where they threaten the creators. I didn't like The Last Jedi. Thought it was a horrible movie, plot-wise, character-wise. A lot of characters were out of character, in my opinion. A lot of people loved it. That's fine. I don't care. I didn't like it. Did I threaten Rian Johnson? No, because he has a lot of good movies. This, in my opinion, just wasn't the right movie for him. And for Neil Druckmann, he did something very bold, and I respect him for that. I'm not going to call him a cuckman. I know when I read the leaks, and I did a video on the leaks, and there were spoilers and all that I was talking about, and when I saw the way that Joel died in the cutscene that kind of ties into that with Abby killing him, when you play as Abby, they show you that shit again, which is... We didn't really need to see that again, but I was wrong, and I'm going to admit, I was wrong. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I was in the right, because I didn't get the full context on the game. So, I enjoyed the game for what it was. I enjoyed the story. I get what Naughty Dog was trying to do, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, like, there weren't flaws in the game. Of course there were. Narrative-wise, there were a lot of flaws. And I know people, like, don't like the way that Abby looks, but this is a fictional character. This is a fictional story. This is a video game. So it was really fun playing as Abby. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed playing as Abby. I had a ton of fun playing as her. She was a really cool character to play as. Her story was very interesting. In some aspects of the story, I sympathize with her. She did show a little bit of humanity, but she didn't show regret at all. Or, like, maybe she never showed as though she may have felt a little bit wrong in what she did to Joel. Which Ellie is the only character in this game where after she kills Owen and the woman who's carrying his child, when she actually kills her, which she didn't know that she was pregnant, she goes into a panic attack. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, Ellie's killed people in the first game and the second game, and oh, wow, she kills this chick and then she has a panic attack. You missed the point. You missed the complete point of why she had a panic attack, and she forgot the map to where her, Tommy, Jesse, and, Dana were at. Dina. Sorry, not Dana. Dina. She killed a pregnant woman on accident. She didn't mean to do that. And so when her doing that, she didn't know that she was pregnant because she was simply asking Owen and his baby mama where Abby was, and Owen attacked. She fought back in self-defense, and then his baby mama tried to, kill her or whatever. She fought in self-defense. Now, Owen's baby mama should have never even tried to even be a part of going out and fighting, even though she was pregnant. That was a stupid decision on the writers, in my opinion. And in the character, that was a dumb decision. But the reason that Ellie felt that way, and people are really pissed off, like, oh, she felt so bad for killing her, but not everyone else, because she was pregnant with a child. When someone is pregnant with a child, and you don't know, and they attack you, and you defend yourself in self-defense, and you kill them, you're going to be very distraught because you didn't take just one life, but you took another life that didn't get a chance to live its life out. So I agree. Ellie should have felt that way. She should have been very distraught after she had killed Owen's baby mama, and she should have had a panic attack. That makes sense. I've seen a lot of reviews of this game, and I've seen a lot of people bitch about that part. She had every right to feel distraught. And she had every right to feel bad because she didn't know. She didn't know that she was pregnant. Now, when Abby is about to slit Dana's throat, you know, when you're playing as Abby, and that's the part I hate the most when you play as Abby. The rest of the part is playing as Abby, I'm fine with, but when you have to play as Abby to beat the shit out of Ellie and hunt her down, basically, I feel like after you played, if they did keep the game like this, and then they had you play as Abby for, like, you know, I played as her for, like, about 11, 13 hours. You know, if you just want to run through it, it's not that hard to run through as her. You know, just she's a big, you know, bulky woman in the game. Just beat the shit out of everybody and run through. If they would have switched back to Ellie, when it came back to that cutscene where she had pointed the gun and said, "Oh, you know, you killed all my friends and I'll let you go." You had, you know, whatever she said, and then, you know, then it has you play as Abby. After all of that, after playing as long as you did as her, if they would have had you switch back to Ellie and then fight Abby, I wouldn't have minded that cutscene after where she beats the shit out of Ellie and then is about to slit, you know, Dina's throat, and then Lev talks her out of it. Abby didn't care. Like, when Ellie said she's pregnant, she was going to do it anyways. She had no regard. She had no sympathy. Like, oh my God, she killed one of my friends on accident, without realizing that she was pregnant, which they never gave her that context in the first place. But still, Abby should have been like, that's not the right thing to do, is to kill, it's not the right thing to do to kill someone who is pregnant, because then I'm taking more than one life. She never, like, she never felt bad for anything that she did, but Ellie did. So I'm going to close this review of The Last of Us 2 on this type of note. I enjoyed the game for what it was. Like I said, it has a lot of narrative flaws. If you want to play the game, play it and experience it. It's an experience that is worth experiencing. Whether you're going to be mad at the end of the game, whether you're going to be mad playing as Abby, it's worth experiencing because it was a fun journey for me. I'm on my second playthrough. I'm about to be done playing as Ellie and then going to Abby, you know. And I might have a change of heart by the end of playing, you know, by the end of getting through this game a second time. I might actually enjoy the whole game, as a matter of fact, and I will do another review after this. But where I stand now after playing it the first time, if I was gonna rate this game like a gameplay wise, I would give it like a 7 out of 10. But if I'm gonna rate it narrative wise, I gotta give it like a 5 out of 10. Could have been better, but anyways. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, make sure that you guys like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you guys want to have me play any other games and review them, just let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, peace out.